Test, test, test. It's James Lutton for Pro Boxing Fans. Delighted to be joined with the WBC President, Mauricio Sulaiman. Mauricio, how are you?
Very, very happy. It's a great moment for boxing.
Absolutely. So we're here in Las Vegas. We had the undercard press conference today, but of course the main event is Tyson Fury, Deontay Wilder for the WBC World Heavyweight title. How big is this fight in the scale of the fights that you've covered previously?
I am going back in a time capsule to the 80s and 90s with Mike Tyson, Holyfield, Lennox Lewis. The atmosphere that we're living and seeing for this fight is comparable to what used to happen in the great big heavyweight fights. So I can see this as one of the memorable big ones.
You mentioned there, many greats in the heavyweight division. Where do these two guys match up compared to those guys?
They are active, so they are building their legacy. You can never tell where they're going to lead and end up. But what we have seen, Deontay Wilder, 5 years as champion, 11 title defenses, 43 fights, 41 wins by knockout, 1 draw. I mean, that's big credentials. Tyson Fury, undefeated, multiple-time champion, a very unique personality. So this is a great combination.
You mentioned Wilder's achievements there. Statistically, fantastic resume for Deontay Wilder there. And you mentioned there 11 title defences, but he's tied with Muhammad Ali. How much inspiration and motivation will it be for him to beat that record?
Huge, because then he's in a very elite list to pass Muhammad Ali in title defenses, to establish himself, to redeem that draw that is a spot on his record. It's a very motivational fight for Deontay Wilder.
And with Tyson Fury coming into this fight, he mentioned it's the first camp where he's not had to lose weight, he's in shape, and he's been in shape for the last, 2 years since the first fight. How important would that be for Tyson going into this one?
It's very important. It's a life-defining fight for Tyson Fury. He had his downs, and boxing brought him back. He's back on top of the world. If he can come up with a victory, it would be huge for him, for his legacy, for boxing, for the UK, and for the world.
So just wanted to turn attention away a little bit from Wilder Fury, and tomorrow night the WBC silver title is on the line with Ahara Davis and Jeffrey Freeman with MTK Golden Contract. With these other little belts below the world title, and gives these guys a rankings, how important are these titles that the WBC distribute to these other guys?
This is a very important process for boxing. The WBC instituted a series of regional championships since the early 80s. That way you can have fighters prepare their career leading up to the World Championship. Before, the titles were for 15 rounds, so the WBC reduced to 12 rounds. And the affiliated championship fights we have now reduced to 10 rounds for safety reasons. But these titles play an enormous part for the development of fighters to become in a world level atmosphere, in a protected, well-structured sanctioning, with all the medicals in place, with all the rules in place, and they can lead up. It's a stepping stone to get to the World Championship.
You mentioned there about reducing the rounds from 15 to 12 for health and safety reasons. I know it's something you're very passionate about. Now talk to us about the steps that WBC are taking, still going forward, to make changes in the sport.
As I just mentioned, we changed the affiliated titles from 12 to 10 and some to even to 8 rounds. Our priority this year is going to be the weight management and the dehydration factors. Weight is a problem, has been the worst enemy for each boxer throughout history, and we're making a lot of work into that. We're also working on gymnasium protocols. When there's a knockout in a gym, has to be reported to the local commission mandatorily. We're working on, of course, the clean boxing program with the anti-doping, random testing, the mismatch prevention system. We don't want mismatches. When you go to a boxing card, it's often that you see the card and you see one side, the other side, you know which side is going to win all the fights. So many things, everything going through the safety.
You mentioned there that if there's a knockout in the gym, it's got to be reported as a mandatory. What happens if they don't report that? What punishments will be on the line for that?
Well, this is a new concept, and we're going to be developing some guidelines, but it could lead to suspension, to fines, and it could even lead to something more problematic, because if there's an accident, then there's consequences, and it could lead into something into the criminal. But that's out of our hands. We will be dealing with suspensions and fines.
Going back to, you mentioned as well about reducing the title round fights, or the rounds in a title fight, I should say. At what stage does it become a little bit almost silly? You know, when's it going to stop? You know, you're saying potentially down to 8 rounds. Where does it end?
We don't know. We only have safety as our concern. This comes because there's a common practice of bringing fighters very fast into the 8 and 10 and 12 rounders. And let me give you an example. When you run a marathon, it's 42 kilometers, okay? And in order to do that, you have to run and to prepare yourself for that. So you run 5, then you run 10, then you increase to 15, 20, then you do one trial, 30, then you do one effort, but then you run the marathon, 42. It's in boxing, it's like you put someone who's running at 5 going directly into the 30, 40 kilometers. You never know what's going to happen to that body, the pressure and the reaction. But boxing is not a game. Boxing, you're getting punched. So that's why we have taken this stance.
And final question before I let you go, Mauricio. In terms of, maybe not as the WBC president, but maybe as a fan of boxing, what would you like to see after this fight? Would you like to see the winner fight Anthony Joshua in unification, or would you like to see a trilogy match between these two?
I don't anticipate. I like to see what's going to happen Saturday. I know it's going to be a great fight, and the winner will have great opportunities. The loser, if he does it in an important way, in a dramatic fight, will have the same respect and the same opportunities for the future. What I can say is that the heavyweight division has tremendous fights out there that could lead to great emotions to all the fans around the world.
Mauricio Sulaiman, thank you for your time and speaking to Pro Boxing fans. We appreciate it.